Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach, we'll get started with you. What are the biggest challenges in preparing for a new season, and how do you attack those challenges to make sure that your teams are as prepared and ready to go at the start of these new, embark on these new journeys?
I see the biggest challenges are kind of getting everybody on board and kind of thinking sort of the same thing as far as, how you can help each other out, how you can encourage one another, how can you be a good teammate, and just the difference in training programs and things that they may have been used to coming in as freshmen and being with some of the older people on the team who have kind of seen what we do, and just getting everybody on board and on the same page.
Nathan, you jump into your junior season. Speak to the excitement of being an upperclassman. Have you sort of maybe seen your role change a little bit now that you know what's expected to be a part of this TLU track and field program? Have you maybe embarked on a little bit more of a leadership role as a junior this season?
Yes, sir, I have. It goes anywhere from leading some of the warm-ups to just the drills, showing the freshmen really how it's done, what they need to do, how they need to attack the meets, attack the practices, have that same energy that I had when I was a freshman, because I had great upperclassmen to teach me, and now that they're gone, I kind of just want to carry that energy into the new seasons.
Felicia, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on kind of the idea of patience when it comes to track and field and the track season. Knowing that the first time you line up at the start of the season, you're not necessarily expected to put forth your PR or the fastest time of the year, that there is that room for growth, and that hopefully by the end of the year and championship season, you're running your best. How important is patience for you in terms of trying to find that success throughout the course of a year?
Like you said, patience, it is really important, and obviously you're not going to get the exact results you want from the very beginning, the very first meet. You just have to trust in your coaches that what they're giving you is really beneficial for you, and that they know exactly what they're doing. They know when you're going to peak, when you're going to start hitting the times you want, and you just have to really trust in them and put faith in the workouts that they give you, that it's going to work.
Coach, what are you looking for early on in the season, coming out of indoor and through preseason, with respect to kind of that idea of patience Felicia and I talked about, that kind of gives you confidence that your athletes will be ready and prepared when it comes to that championship portion of the season down the road?
I'm always looking at every little thing in the meets and in practices and how people are reacting to the workouts, and how we can fine-tune things so that as we go along that they'll keep getting better and better. I think coming out in our first indoor meet, people kind of learn some things that maybe they have to do differently, and just use everything that we do as a learning process, so that by the end, when it all counts, everybody knows what to do. Everybody is like at their tip-top shape and ready to really perform. And it's just like you said before about the patience, it's a process, and we don't expect people to be right on top of everything right from the get-go. So if people are all ready at a certain point, it's exciting. You just know that it's just going to get so much better from that point on, and it's always just fine-tuning everything as we go.
Nathan, as a hurdler and sprinter who earned all SCAC honors last year as a sophomore, can you kind of speak to the balance when it comes to your training, especially as a hurdles, needing to have that power and strength, but also that sprint work as well? Where have you found that balance, and what have you found to be successful for you moving into your junior year?
Well, one thing about doing hurdles as well as sprints is that I get that major flexibility with hurdles, and so that honestly carries over into sprints. And a lot of the hurdle work I do not only affects how I hurdle and how just I attack the races, but also affects how I attack the sprints as well. It all leads into the same. It's pretty much the same race, just with 10 hurdles in the way. And there is a technique, but the technique crosses over into sprinting, and it really fits perfectly well and carries over and helps me in sprints just as much as hurdles.
Felicia, similar question for you, just in terms of, as a 400 runner, 400 hurdler runner as well, you kind of have that middle distance, expertise. And How do you find balance in your training? Are there similarities in the 400 and the 400 hurdles, or are they viewed for you as totally different events? Sort of where do you find your balance when it comes to your training as you get prepared for a new year?
To me, they are pretty similar. I mean, you still have to have endurance, but you also have to have quick speed to get out at the beginning, and then you have to pick it up again towards the end. So they're pretty similar. It's just that the 400 hurdles just take a little more bit out of you, just because there's hurdles in the way, and you're already fatigued from the 400 and having to jump over hurdles as well. But it's just about the endurance, but the speed really does mean a lot as well.
Coach, we've talked about this in the past, but one of the things I really appreciate about track and field is the idea of bringing all these different individual talents together to sort of form this team mentality. What is key for you in terms of getting everybody on the same page, becoming, one sort of team as a whole, despite the fact that, during a practice, there could be 4 or 5 completely different things going on with completely different skill sets?
Well, that's where, when we do our fall conditioning, it's really key for us. Though we do pick up a few athletes from some of the other sports, and they kind of just have to jump into what is already established as our culture. Is like doing warm-ups together and just kind of just doing that conditioning and the lifting and everything that they do. Everything in the fall is kind of as a complete group, and knowing that they have each other's back. They've all been through it, and they just come together because they all know that everybody's putting in 100% effort every day, and they see that every day, whether it's in their training group or not.
Finally, to wrap things up with both Nathan and Felicia, just as you've had conversations with your teammates about some of the goals and expectations heading into this 2020 outdoor season, what are some of those conversations looking like, and what are some of those goals as you both head into these new seasons?
Really, for the guys' side, it's to win conference 4 years in a row and to keep winning it and to keep putting what we took from the last year and just winning over all the other schools, but not just as much as winning, but also improving, PRing, trying to get as many athletes to nationals as possible, trying to get as many relays, as many sprints, as many throwers, just to have that overall accomplishment of not only getting the ring, but also getting to nationals.
And for the girls, it's the same. The guys have been winning conference, and we keep getting second, but we're working really, really hard to win conference this year and hopefully to send some people to nationals as well.
And Coach, finally to wrap things up with you, this season is successful of sort of what plays out on the track and field for both of these programs. What are you looking for from these groups to kind of continue to take those steps in the right direction as you continue to build your program there in Seguin?
A lot of it is just keeping that enthusiasm throughout the season, and if you have a bad meet or a bad practice, is bouncing back from that and always looking at the ultimate goal of what you're trying to accomplish as an individual and as a team, and what your role is in all of that, and trying to just take everything every day, one day at a time, but also having that ultimate goal that you're working toward, and always keeping your eye on the prize. So,
the Texas Lutheran University Bulldogs men's and women's track and field programs, the TLU will open up the season in outdoor on March 7th when they head down to Trinity. The Bulldogs once again will be led by head coach Darlene Holland and junior Nathan Howell, along with junior Felicia Ortiz. Coach, Nathan, Felicia, thanks so much for joining us today, and best of luck as you head into the season.
Thank you.
Thank you.